みなさん、konnichiwa! Welcome back to NihonGoal, where we study Japanese language together. If you're new here, you can check out my earlier videos for JLPT N5 and N4. This is Minna No Nihongo Intermediate Lesson 14, Part 1. If you haven't seen the vocabulary list for this lesson, please make sure to check it out in this video. In this lesson, we will learn about the following grammar points. Number 1, nani nani sai. Number 2, nani nani to itta. Number 3, nani nani ni mo watatte. Number 4, nani nani uchi ni. Number 5, nani nani totte. And lastly, number 6, nani nani to wa. But before we begin, I want to thank TokyoTreat and Sakuraco for sponsoring today's video. TokyoTreat and Sakuraco are subscription boxes filled with Japanese snacks. They have a unique theme every month, and it comes with a booklet about the snacks, allergen information, and lots of amazing stuff about Japanese culture. The TokyoTreat box is more about the pop culture of Japan. October has the Halloween snack haul theme, and we got things like Kit Kat sweet potato and Pokemon Halloween choco pie. So let's try this one. Sweet potato is a big thing in Japan, and it's nice that you can get it in Kit Kat form. That is so Japan. For the more authentic and traditional side of Japan, you can get Sakuraco. This October is about Kyoto's koyo or crimson leaves in Japanese. They've partnered with Kyoto's local snack makers and artisans, and each box comes with their special tea and a handmade tableware. Everything in here looks so special. And for the month of October, you can get this cute little tableware. And look at this momiji-shaped cookie. It's on a stick. That's so cute. So, if you want to experience Japan from the comfort of your own home, please check out TokyoTreat and Sakuraco. Use my coupon code NihonGoal to get $5 off your first Sakuraco or TokyoTreat box. Links for these are in the description box below. はい、準備できたら始めましょう。Our first grammar point is nani nani sai. This grammar point indicates the occasion or the circumstance when something happens. It's like saying on the occasion of or when in English. Nani nani sai is similar to nani nani toki, which also means when. But nani nani toki is more neutral and straightforward. For example, Nihon ni ita toki, Fujisan o mimashita. When I went to Japan, I saw Mount Fuji. On the other hand, nani nani sai adds a sense of formality or significance. How do we use this pattern? We can use nani nani sai with nouns and verbs. For nouns, we have noun plus no plus sai. So make sure you add particle no after the noun followed by sai. For verbs, we have the verb phrase in plain form followed by sai. You would also sometimes hear nani nani sai ni. Nani nani sai or nani nani sai ni have the same meanings. So you can use them interchangeably and it won't affect the meaning. Our first example, please make sure you don't forget anything when you leave. We are going to focus on the phrase when you leave. Here our noun is to leave or to leave a place. We use the verb kairi or to be polite, okairi, and then we add particle no, okairi no sai. When you leave, please make sure you don't forget anything. Okairi no sai wa o wasuremono ga nai you ni shite kudasai. Okairi no sai wa o wasuremono ga nai you ni shite kudasai. Another example, when I retired, I received words of gratitude from my colleagues. We are going to focus on the phrase when I retired or retirement. Here we say 退職 to retire or retirement plus の際。退職の際は同僚たちから from my colleagues 感謝の言葉 words of gratitude をもらいました。received 退職の際は同僚たちから感謝の言葉をもらいました。Next is using a verb. So here we are going to use the verb in plain form and then we add sai or sai-ni. For example, when you go on a trip, make sure not to forget to bring the necessary items. Our phrase is when you go on a trip. We say 旅行に行く go on a trip plus 際旅行に行く際 Next, make sure not to forget to bring the necessary items. We say 必要なもの necessary items を持っていく to bring を忘れないようにしてください。旅行に行く際、必要なものを持っていくのを忘れないようにしてください。And last example, when you have an interview, self-introduction is important. Our phrase is when you have an interview. Interview is 面接 So we can use it as a verb. 面接する際には So again, you can use 際 or 際に面接する際には Self-introduction is important. 自己紹介が大切です。面接する際には自己紹介が大切です。Our next grammar point is 何々と言った。This grammar point is used to give specific examples to illustrate general statements. It can be translated as such as, like, or for instance in English. This is very similar to the grammar pattern 何々など。For example, 彼は果物などを食べることが好きです。He likes to eat things like fruits. You can replace と言った with など without changing its meaning. It's just that 何々など is more general and less specific. How do we use this pattern? We have two nouns. So first we have noun 1, と言った noun 2, which means N2 such as N1. So let's take a look at some examples on how to use this pattern. For example, Caroline has healthy hobbies such as sports. Here our noun 1 is sports and our noun 2 is healthy hobbies. So sport is an example of healthy hobbies. We say Caroline has. Now we use noun 1 plus と言った noun 2. We say sports と言った healthy hobbies 健康的な趣味 healthy hobby. キャロラインはスポーツといった健康的な趣味を持っています。キャロラインはスポーツといった健康的な趣味を持っています。Next example, there were a lot of tourists, such as Koreans, when I visited Sapporo. We have noun 1, Koreans, noun 2 is tourists. So the focus is tourists such as Koreans. So there are many tourists there, and one of the example is Koreans. We say 札幌へ行ったとき When I visited Sapporo, 韓国人 Koreans. So again, noun 1, 韓国人といった tourist is 観光客 韓国客 tourists such as Koreans. And then が多かったです。札幌へ行ったとき When I visited Sapporo 韓国人といった観光客が多かったです。Next example. In Japan, food item such as matcha is popular among tourists. So our noun one is matcha is an example of a food item. We say 日本では Our noun one is matcha. 日本では抹茶といった食品 food item が観光客に人気です。is popular among tourists. 日本では抹茶といった食品が観光客に人気です。Our next grammar point is 何々にも渡って。This grammar pattern indicates that a specific action or situation extends over a lengthy period of time or covers an extensive area. It can be translated as over, throughout, or across in English. This is similar to the grammar pattern 何々の間. However, generally, it's more neutral in tone. For example, 雨が降っている間、家にいます。I'll be at home while it's raining. So, how do we use this pattern? We have the time or duration or the area plus にも渡って. We can add the particle も after に to intensify the duration or the extent. If we want to use it to describe a noun, the pattern is we have the time or duration or the area plus に渡る. に渡る plus noun. So let's take a look at some examples on how to use this pattern. For example, I studied for 3 hours straight. So here we have a time. In the span of 3 hours, I studied. We say 3時間. 3時間 plus に渡って. In the span of 3 hours, 勉強しました. I studied. 3時間にわたって勉強しました。Another example, the desert stretches 450 kilometers from east to west. Here we are going to use an area. We say 砂漠は the desert. So here we have 450 kilometers from east to west. So we say 東西. 東西 means east to west. 550キロに渡って across the 450 kilometer area from east to west, the desert stretches or 広がっている。砂漠は東西450キロに渡って広がっている。砂漠は東西450キロに渡って広がっている。Next is using the pattern to modify or describe a noun. For example, the 3-year project is finally over. So we are describing the noun project. What type of project is it? It's a 3-year-long project. We say 3年間 3-year plus に渡る. So notice that instead of 渡って we say 渡る。3年間にわたる plus noun プロジェクトがやっと終わりました is finally finished or over 3年間にわたるプロジェクトがやっと終わりました Another example The week-long competition will end today. Our noun is competition and we are describing it as it's a week-long competition. We say 1週間1週間にわたるトーナメント or 大会もう今日終了です。1週間にわたるトーナメントもう今日 終了です。Our next grammar point is 何々うちに。This pattern is used to express the need to do something before a particular situation changes or a specific time comes. In English, it can be translated as while or before we have to do something. This is similar to the grammar pattern 何々間. However, this is more neutral and it doesn't emphasize the need to do something. For example, 食事の間話しませんでした. I didn't talk during the meal. We can use 何々うちに with verbs, e-adjectives, na-adjectives, and nouns. For verbs, we can use the ている form or ない form of the verb followed by うちに, meaning while doing verb. For e-adjectives, we simply add うちに after the e-adjective. For na-adjectives, we have to add な. So we have na-adjective な plus うちに. And lastly, for nouns, we have to add の. So noun のうちに. Again, 何々うちに emphasizes the need to do something before the situation changes. Make sure to use this pattern when there's a clear sense of urgency to complete the action. So let's take a look at some examples on how to use this pattern. Our first example is using verb. While John is in Osaka, let's go to USJ. So we are describing the time while John is still in Osaka. So before, while John is still here, let's do this. We say, John さんが大阪にいる. So John is in Osaka plus うちに. And then, let's go to USJ. USJ に行こう. ジョンさんが大阪にいるうちに USJ に行こう. Another example, I fell asleep while watching the movie. So, the time is while watching the movie. We say, 映画を見ている. 映画を見ている. So again, we have a ている form. Plus うちに. And then, I fell asleep. 寝てしまいました. 映画を見ているうちに寝てしまいました. Another example, I want to go home before it gets late or before it gets dark. We say 夜遅くならない before it gets late. So 遅く is from the verb 遅い to be late. So 遅くならない which means not to be late or not to become late plus うちに. So this phrase means before it gets late. I want to go home. 帰りたいです. 夜遅くならないうちに帰りたいです. Next is using an e-adjective. For example, let's go to the sea while it's still hot. The weather is still hot. Hot is 暑い. So we just add うちに. 暑いうちに海に行ってみよう. 暑いうちに海に行ってみよう. Next is using a na adjective. For na, we have to add na particle and then うちに. For example, I got my homework done while it was quiet. Our na adjective is quiet or 静か. 静かな plus うちに. I got my homework done. 宿題を終わらせました. 静かなうちに宿題を終わらせました. Next is using a noun. With nouns, we have to add particle の. For example, the movie will start soon. So let's have lunch now. Our noun is now, or this moment. We say, the movie will start soon. もうすぐ映画が始まるので. Our noun is now, this time or this moment. We say 今. So 今 is a noun. We add の. 今のうちに before this time passes. お昼ご飯を食べましょう。Let's eat lunch. もうすぐ映画が始まるので、今のうちにお昼ご飯を食べましょう。Our next grammar point is 何々にとって。This grammar pattern is used to express judgment or evaluation from a particular standpoint or perspective. It can be translated as from the standpoint of noun or for noun in English. How do we use this pattern? We simply add ni totte after a noun. So, a standpoint of someone. So, that someone is a noun. So, noun plus ni totte and then followed by the main sentence. This pattern is commonly used when discussing the significance or value of something from a specific point of view. So let's take a look at some examples on how to use this pattern. Our first example. For children, or from the standpoint of children, school is an important place. We say, 子供, children, 子供にとって学校は大切な場所です。子供にとって学校は大切な場所です。Another example. For artists, free expression is important. Artist is 芸術家。芸術家にとって自由な表現が重要です。Again, 芸術家にとって自由な表現が重要です。And last example. For me, or from my standpoint, sufficient sleep is absolutely necessary. We say, 私にとって、for me, 十分な睡眠 enough sleep は欠かせないものだ。欠かせないもの means something essential or necessary. 私にとって十分な睡眠は欠かせないものだ。Our next grammar point is 何々とは。This pattern is used to explain, define, or rephrase a term, or it's often used to provide clear and concise explanation of something. This is very similar to 何々というのは pattern. For example, 餅というのはもち米を使って作られる食べ物です。Mochi is a food made using sticky rice. How do we use this pattern? We simply add とは after a noun. So we have noun とは followed by the main sentence. This pattern is useful when you want to provide quick explanation of something without going through the extensive detail. In casual speech or conversation, 何々って or というのは is more common instead of とは. So let's take a look at some examples on how to use this pattern. For example, a project manager is someone who oversees the progress and planning of a project. The speaker is explaining what a project manager is. We say, プロジェクトマネージャー, so which is the Japanese for project manager. プロジェクトマネージャーとは、プロジェクトの進行や進行 means progress, 計画 planning を管理する人のことです。プロジェクトマネージャーとは、プロジェクトの進行や計画を管理する人のことです。Another example, influenza is an infectious disease caused by a virus. We are explaining what influenza is. インフルエンザとはウイルスによって引き起こされる caused by a virus 引き起こされる means to cause によって means by and then ウイルス or virus. It's an infectious disease caused by a virus. インフルエンザとはウイルスによって引き起こされる感染症です。Another example, COSPA. COSPA is short for cost performance, meaning cost effective. You would often hear the word COSPA when someone describes that you get a good value from a purchase. So we say コスパとはコストパフォーマンスの略です。略 means short for. So here we have コスト. So we have コス and then パ from performance. That's why it became コスパ。コスパとはコストパフォーマンスの略です。meaning cost effective 費用対効果費用対効果という意味です。費用対効果 means cost effective コスパとはコストパフォーマンスの略です。費用対効果という意味です。はい、お疲れ様でした。今日のレッスンはどうでしたか？役に立ったら LIKE ボタンを押してください。もしコメントとか質問があれば、ぜひ下に書いてくださいね。I hope you learned something today. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss part 2 of this lesson. And if you want to support this channel even more, please consider becoming my patron to my Patreon page where you can get the lesson PDF and other study materials. And to all my Patreons, 本当にありがとうございます。Thank you so much for your continued support. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. I will see you in the next one. Mata ne! A big shout out to our elite scholars, Maiku, Cornelius, Constantine, Mark, Sergio, Addie, and Caroline. And to our study buddies, Paul, Taras, Jean, Pires, Manikantan, Critocrator, Guy, Sa, Silent Zero, Aishwarya, Ali, and Rohit. And to all our NihonGoal students, 本当にありがとうございます。